Best Bites Forever.
Hi everyone, welcome to Best Bites Forever. I'm Chef Alicia, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this really lovely calamari ceviche. In our house we call this Caribbean ceviche because I put mangoes in it. So obviously it's not going to be a traditional ceviche where it's the, hard fleshy fish and so forth, but it is a really delicious twist on it, and I know that you're going to love it. I do make a few changes to traditional ceviche in this recipe. For starters, I'm actually going to cook my calamari just a little bit. Now, I know a lot of you are already kind of cringing and you're like, no, you don't cook ceviche, it cooks in the juice, and I know that. I totally know that. I'm a chef, I know that. But for food safety reasons, because I'm using calamari and I'm serving this to a 4-year-old, which is my son, I need to go ahead and, do what I know that needs to be done, because even though it does do a cooking in its own juices, it doesn't necessarily kill some of the things that can be in there and they can hurt him. So it's up to you. If you want to cook it, cook it. If you don't want to cook it, don't cook it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off here and I'm going to add my beautiful little ceviche rings, which I have right here, right into my pot of boiling water. And I actually have, whoosh, and I actually have 2 of them that are going in there. I had separated the tentacles because I was kind of considering not adding the tentacles into the ceviche, but then my husband was like, well, I want the tentacles in mine because that's his absolute favorite part. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave the tentacles. We're doing 3 minutes, guys. I'm going to start a timer. Timer, 3 minutes. I'm not ignoring you. We're still together. Okay, so this is going to cook for 3 minutes, and I have an ice water bath sitting right here where I'm going to stop the cooking. Meanwhile, while that's cooking, I have a few ingredients that I want to show you. So I'm putting in 2 mangoes. I have super, super ripe, beautiful mangoes. I also have 2 shallots. I have a bit of cilantro. I have about 3/4 of a cup of freshly squeezed lime juice. I'm going to add just a little bit more to it. And I also have some orange juice, a cucumber, and some green onions. Did I say everything? No, I didn't. I also have a jalapeno, salt, pepper, and a little bit of cumin just for fun. You don't have to add the cumin. Again, I'm definitely straying from tradition here, but I'm doing what I like to do. So I'm going to bring you over here with me so that you can see my cutting board, and I'm going to do a little bit of cutting for you.
The first thing that I'm going to do is cut up my shallots. So for this recipe, I'm using 2 shallots. Notice that I kept the root end on the shallot. That just kind of holds it together while I'm chopping it up. So I cut it into planks and then kind of into french fries and then turn it to the side and chop it. Try to keep your cuts as even as possible because it will look better in the end. My timer went off for my calamari, so I've put that into an ice bath, and I'm going to put this straight into a colander so that it is not soaking in the water. The next thing that I'm going to do is zest my lime. Over here to the side, I do have a little bit of lime zest already done, but I want to end up with about a tablespoon of lime zest altogether. I'm going to run my knife through it just a little bit so that I don't have any really long pieces of the zest. Next, I'm going to juice what is left of my lime here. I wanted to get about a cup of juice, so let's just pretend that I did get a cup of juice because I actually ended up a little bit short here, but no big deal. We're going to call that a cup. The next thing that I'm going to do is peel my mango. When I peel my mango, I like to use a vegetable peeler. I think it's easier, and I peel one side and then the other because it kind of gets slippery as you start to peel it. Once you get both sides of this peeled, go ahead and get all of that peel off of your cutting board because, of course, we like to work nice and neat and clean. There's a large kind of pit in the middle of your mango, so it's easy to kind of turn it on its side and then cut the long planks off of each side. And then I like to lay it down and do the same thing on the sides of the mango and just kind of avoid the pit that's in there. I also want to make sure everything is really pretty, so I'm trying to keep my cuts nice and even, and any of it that doesn't look good isn't going to go into the ceviche, basically. The pit goes to my kids. Here I have some cilantro, and you can kind of do this to your own taste. I think that I used about 1/3 of the bunch, which is going to end up being like just under 1/4 of a cup chopped up cilantro. Don't chop it to death, just run your knife through it a couple of times. The next thing that I'm going to cut up is my cucumber, which had a tiny little bad spot, but that will go to my tortoise because he loves cucumbers and he won't care about that little bad spot. I just kind of cut it in half, and then again I'm cutting the planks And I kind of stood it up to do that because it makes it easier to see how thick I'm making them. Again, I want to cut the French fries. Do you notice a little pattern here? And then a nice dice, again, trying to keep the same size of everything. Here I have 4 green onions, and I just trimmed off the white part, and then I'm going to cut them about halfway up and then chop them into nice thin little slices. The next thing that we have to cut up is our jalapeno. So notice that I put some gloves on. That's because my skin is really super sensitive to the capsaicin. The capsaicin is what makes peppers hot, and the majority of it is found inside these little ribs and inside the seeds. So for me, I'm going to remove all of the ribs and all of the seeds. The more heat that you want inside of your ceviche at the end, the more of that you want to leave in there. Of course, you could also add an additional pepper or a hotter pepper if you wanted. And here's my beautiful calamari, which has been hanging out in the colander, not in the ice water bath. You do not want to let it set in the water the whole time because you will water down the flavor of the calamari. So I'm just going to put this in a nice little pile and chop it up, keeping in mind that this is being served with chips, and I want to make sure that you can get a little bit of the fish, the mango, and everything else onto the chip in each bite. So they do need to be kind of small pieces. I set a couple of the tentacles to the side just for the plate up because it's going to give it a lovely little color. The rest of the tentacles I'm going to go ahead and chop right into it.
Okay, we are all done with our chopping, and all we have to do now is assemble. So I have my bowl here. I already put my shallots into it, and I have them behind me under my vent fan because they were making my eyes cry like crazy. So everything is going to go in here with the shallots. So my cucumbers that I chopped up are going right on in there. This is my cilantro along with my green onions. Into the bowl you go. And then I have my mango and my jalapeno. They're being friends in here. They are going into the bowl. And of course we have our calamari, which is all beautiful and chopped up nice and bite-sized. Make sure that, people are going to be eating this on a chip, so you want to make sure that it's going to go onto a chip. I am going to keep these 2 pretty little tentacles that I'd set to the side, still to the side for my plate up. I also have my lime zest and my orange zest. I don't know if I talked about that, but if I didn't, I did about a tablespoon of lime zest and like 2 teaspoons of orange zest. I want to make sure that I have more of a lime flavor than an orange flavor in this. So I have about a half of a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. I also have 3/4, although I wanted it to be a cup, but I was about a lime short. So let's call it almost a cup. It's over 3/4, but under a cup of freshly squeezed lime juice is going inside of there. Let's move this dude right here where it's a little closer. I'm going to put some cumin. I'm not going to measure it. No, you should probably never ever just shake it straight in there, but I'm doing it. I'm also going to put some salt and a little bit of white pepper. You can use black pepper if you want. I'm using the white because it doesn't leave the little flecks all over the place, which I don't want in my pretty ceviche. I need a spoon. I have a spoon. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a nice little stir. Of course, it has all these beautiful colors in it. I really debated adding like a red bell pepper, and I also considered adding the tomatoes in, but I just don't think the flavor profile is quite right to have those things mixed up together. I would love to have the color of a red bell pepper in here or of the tomatoes. I suppose you could go with some kind of like a red pepper, like a red hot pepper, and get that little bit of color in there if you wanted to. But this is my really beautiful ceviche. Can you see it? It's hard for me to tell. Can you see it? I'm going to plate this up over avocado. So I'm going to put some really beautiful avocado that's nice and ripe. I'm going to slice it thin, lay it down on a plate, and then put this right on top of it along with some chips for serving. I'm going to take a picture of it for you, and then I'm going to show it to you. Okay? Because I'm actually going over to my in-laws' house. I'm not eating this here. So I'm not going to be able to like film and show you all of the stuff because we're leaving. We're out the door. But yeah, I will take a picture of it when I plate it up and serve it to them, and I'm really excited. Thank you all so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate everybody stopping by, and I love it when you leave comments. Please give it a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Of course, share the video with all of your friends. That's like the highest compliment you could possibly give me, is sharing my video, because it lets me know that you really liked it. And I do love reading your comments. Please make sure that you leave some. and I try to answer all of them. Just be patient, please, because I have a lot of kids. What can I say? And anyway, yeah, thank you so much again, and happy cooking, everyone. Bye.
And here are those pictures as promised, picture 1 and picture 2.
bestbitesforever.com